Welcome to Ask Me Anything AWS. In this show, we're really focused on answering any questions you may have, so drop any questions you have down below. And the goal of this is to help you to get into tech, AWS, and help you pass your tech interviews by answering any questions you may have. Today, we have a question from Sarah, and she asked, what can you do to stand out in your interviews, especially at AWS?
Life is good.
The application process is very competitive. I know there's hundreds of people that apply for these roles, so you really want to make sure you can stand out. How can you do that? Amazon has an infamous process called the loop interviews, really asking you about behavioral questions about yourself and all the projects you've worked on. And I think there's a few ways you can stand out here. And I think if you nail the loop interview, that's where you really stand out as a candidate. The presumption to this part is you've already applied with your CV, you've got a great CV, you've gone past the recruiter on the phone screen, and you're now onto your loop interview. And you've also passed your technical interviews. How can you stand out here? Here's 3 ways. The first way I think you can stand out is becoming well prepared for your interviews. And I really believe this one's good because I've seen a lot of candidates sort of come to an interview and it felt like it was just semi-prepared. When I did my interviews, I prepared all my different answers and all my different stories that I think I could talk about during my interviews. I wrote them down, I went over them, I practiced with people. And if you come well prepared like that, I think you can tell from an interviewer's perspective that this candidate really wants the job and is really prepared for it. And it's just a really pleasant experience. And one of those things where it's not a requirement, but it's a really good nice to have. And I think that if your interviewer finds this a more enjoyable experience, then they're gonna write better things about you. So first one, come really well prepared. As part of your preparation, what I would really recommend is having a framework to discuss your answers. I think that a lot of candidates I've seen don't have a framework or a structure when they're talking about their responses. And having a framework to be able to deliver your stories and your points and what you want to get across will really help for your interviewer to be able to understand, what they're looking for. By having structure, you literally present to your interviewer on a silver plate exactly your points and exactly how they should take it down as notes, so that when they're writing their notes about you, it comes off really well for them. It's not cluttered, it's really well organized for them as well. Number 2, I think this one's particularly valuable for students, and I really appreciate it's going to be difficult to have real world projects, but having a real world project is really, really good. And I don't mean that, you need to have built the next Uber or the next Netflix or something. Just having projects that you've actually worked on really, really help. And I would really recommend just go building something. Go and identify a challenge that you're currently facing and build a solution towards it. It doesn't need to be, a full-scale production app. Even if it's a good proof of concept, I think it's still very valuable to do it, because then you can talk about that in your interview. You can say, this is the problem I had, this is how I built it, these are the different services or tooling I used, this is the design decisions, why I chose to build it in a particular way. And that just means that you can have a conversation with your interviewer about all of this stuff, and that's really useful data points from an interviewer's perspective to be able to gather on you. If you want to have a tutorial to build some actual projects, I've got this code, Martini 15, with this really good instructor who builds serverless applications. Go check it out if you want. It helps me with this filming stuff. In all transparency, I do get some of the revenue, so watch out. But it is genuinely a really good course. So the next way to stand out in your AWS interview is to have some AWS certifications. Now, this is quite a controversial one where some people may argue that what's the point of certifications if you don't have any experience and whatnot. Now, hear me out. From my experience as an intern at Solutions Architect, one of our requirement was to get the Solutions Architect Associate. And so you have it before you even going for the internship. You're just bar raising, you're demonstrating learn and be curious, you're demonstrating bias for action, which are leadership principles which we really value as interviewers at AWS. Now, I fully appreciate that you might not have the time to do it. That's not an argument there. I fully understand that. But I believe that you can easily take the Cloud Practitioner exam if you dedicate some time towards it. I really don't think it's a difficult exam. The fact that you're watching this video already and trying to sort of help yourself, you're clearly the type of person that can do it, and I really would recommend to go do it. It just really gives you a good breadth of understanding of AWS. And here's an extra one for all of you that stayed to the end. This one's really key. During your interview, mention as many data points that are relevant to your experience as possible. We as interviewers love data points, and whenever anyone mentions a data point, I'm writing it down straight away and going, oh, this person's done this, it's helped 50 people. He's made a YouTube video which has got 100 views. These are really good. Sprinkle them everywhere during your interview. That's my biggest tip. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe and whatever. But enjoy. Come watch tomorrow for the next question for Ask Me Anything AWS. Peace.
Life is good.